Coming up on 5 Minute News. US to swiftly boost global vaccine sharing. Trump's grip on GOP sparks fears about democratic process. And UK drops Portugal from safe travel list in major blow to airlines. It's Friday, June 4. I'm Anthony Davis. President Joe Biden announced on Thursday the US will swiftly donate an initial allotment of 25 million doses of surplus vaccine overseas through the United Nations-backed COVAX program, promising infusions for South and Central America, Asia, Africa, and others at a time of glaring shortages abroad and more than ample supplies at home. The doses mark a substantial and immediate boost to the lagging COVAX effort, which to date has shared just 76 million doses with needy countries. The announcement came just hours after the World Health Organization in Africa made a new plea for vaccine sharing because of an alarming situation on the continent, where shipments have ground to a near halt, while virus cases have spiked over the past 2 weeks. Overall, the White House has announced plans to share 80 million doses globally by the end of June, most through COVAX. Officials say a quarter of the nation's excess will be kept in reserve for emergencies and for the US to share directly with allies and partners. Of the first 19 million donated through COVAX, approximately 6 million doses will go to South and Central America, 7 million to Asia, and 5 million to Africa. As long as this pandemic is raging anywhere in the world, the American people will still be vulnerable, Biden said in a statement, and the United States is committed to bringing the same urgency to international vaccination efforts that we have demonstrated at home. The remaining 6 million in the initial distribution of 25 million will be directed by the White House to US allies and partners, including Mexico, Canada, South Korea, West Bank and Gaza, India, Ukraine, Kosovo, Haiti, Georgia, Egypt, Jordan, Iraq and Yemen, as well as for United Nations frontline workers. 7 months after Election Day, former President Donald Trump's supporters are still auditing ballots in Arizona's largest county and may revive legislation that would make it easier for judges in Texas to overturn election results. In Georgia, meanwhile, the Republican-controlled state legislature passed a bill allowing it to appoint a board that can replace election officials. Trump loyalists who falsely insist he won the 2020 election are running for top election offices in several swing states. And after a pro-Trump mob staged a violent insurrection at the U.S. Capitol, Republicans banded together to block an independent investigation of the riot, shielding Trump from additional scrutiny of one of the darkest days of his administration. To democracy advocates, Democrats and others, the persistence of the GOP's election denial shows how the Republican Party is increasingly open to bucking democratic norms, particularly the bipartisan respect traditionally afforded to election results even after a bitter campaign. That's raising the prospect that if the GOP gains power in next year's midterms, the party may take the extraordinary step of refusing to certify future elections. We have to face the facts that Republicans, obviously with exceptions, have become an authoritarian party, said Stephen Levitsky, a Harvard political scientist and co-author of the book How Democracies Die. It's impossible to sustain a democracy in a two-party system when one of the parties is not willing to play by the rules of the game. For his part, Trump continues to push Republicans to embrace his election lies. He's gone a step further recently by giving credence to a bizarre conspiracy theory that he could somehow be reinstated into the presidency in August, according to a longtime Trump ally. There's no constitutional or legal mechanism for Trump to return to the presidency, absent of winning another election in 2024. Trump's argument that the last election was tainted has been roundly rejected by federal and state officials, including his own Attorney General and Republican election leaders. Judges, including Supreme Court appointees of Trump himself, have also dismissed his lies. Britain has removed Portugal from its quarantine-free travel list, essentially shutting down the UK's international leisure market just weeks after it reopened and sparking outrage from embattled airlines. The industry questioned why British people could not travel when the country had some of the highest vaccine rates in the world. Portugal said the decision lacked logic. Airports demanded a cash lifeline. The Transport Minister said that coronavirus variants had been detected in Portugal, forcing the UK to shut off the one big European holiday destination it had sanctioned and prioritise its national reopening instead. Britain also failed to add any more countries to its so-called green list for travel, angering EasyJet, British Airways and London's Heathrow Airport, which accused the government of trying to seal the country off from the rest of the world. Over the last 3 weeks, Portugal proved a lifeline for the industry, which had expected a wider reopening to follow. It now faces weeks of cancellations and uncertainty. The industry added that the UK would be left behind as governments across Europe start to open up travel. You can subscribe to 5 Minute News on YouTube with your preferred podcast app. Ask your smart speaker or enable 5 Minute News as your Amazon Alexa flash briefing skill. Subscribe, rate and review online at 5minute.news. 5 Minute News is an Evergreen Podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news daily.